Hi, it's Wasif, Pharmacy Dad from Eye Care Pharmacy, and today I want to talk to you about ADHD, also known as Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. The three hallmark symptoms of ADHD are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Now, if you have someone who is inattentive, hyperactive, and impulsive, they're going to be more prone to risky behaviors such as gambling, reckless driving, substance abuse, and possibly even incarceration. But the good news is ADHD is easily treated. The first step is recognizing what it looks like. So let's look at these hallmark symptoms. So the first one is inattention. When I think of inattention, I think of squirrel. I think of Doug from the movie Up. He's always constantly distracted by squirrel. And they do such a great job of portraying his inattention in that movie. And a lot of ADHD patients suffer with this problem with inattention. But it's also true, interestingly, is that people with ADHD can focus. They actually can, if you present something with them that really sparks their interest, that they're really interested in, they can actually become hyper-focused. They become so focused, they become completely oblivious to everything around them. Now, when I think of the second hallmark symptom, hyperactivity, I think of Dory from Finding Nemo. She just keeps on swimming, keeps on swimming, keeps on swimming. In that movie, she has a lot of issues with her short-term memory, which is kind of similar to patients with ADHD who have issues with their working memory. Now, working memory kind of acts like a short-term memory in that it is something we reference and refer to as we complete certain tasks. And as those tasks get more complicated, the more we're going to lean on our working memory. And the more we lean on the working memory, the more likely we are to get distracted as that task gets more and more complicated, especially if we have ADHD. Now, lastly, I want to talk about impulsivity. When I think of impulsivity, I think of the original bad boy, Mr. Cowabunga, Mr. Eat My Shorts, the one and only Bart Simpson. He is the poster boy when it comes to ADHD. He's hyperactive, impulsive, inattentive. He's always had trouble in school, especially paying attention in class. Runs around with a slingshot in his back pocket, and he's known to have the occasional Slurpee vendor. Now, the thing with that makes Bart really good to talk about in regards to his impulsivity, because he does make a lot of choices that favor instant gratification. The reason he makes these choices to favor instant gratification is because when we try to delay our gratification, say for a bigger reward further down the line, that involves planning. And as a result, that's going to put more stress on our working memory. And of course, as we discussed earlier, putting more stress on our working memory, we're more likely to get distracted and go off task in ADHD. So for someone like Bart, who seems like a severe type of ADHD, he is going to be in a situation where he's going to favor decisions that provide more instant gratification rather than delaying it. ADHD is usually diagnosed by a pediatrician, psychologist, or psychiatrist, and involves looking at family history, medical history, as well as a series of survey type of questionnaires. You typically want to see it in 2 or more settings, so we're talking about work, home, school. In doing research for this video, what I found often was the phrase strong genetic link or strong genetic component. And it's kind of true in my practice too. If I have a child with ADHD, I do not have to look very far to also find a parent with ADHD. Case in point, if we look at Bart Simpson, we don't need to look very far to find Homer Simpson. Homer, he had issues with school himself when he was younger. He has a lot of problems with inattention. He's a bit of a reckless driver. I know he got promoted all the way to safety inspector of the Springfield power plant, but he's not going to be inspecting any of my power plants, that's for sure. Also as well, he has like what you'd call maybe a little bit of an impulsive, aggressive parenting style. So yeah, he kind of checks off all the boxes in regards to ADHD as well. So would you really say at the end of the day, well, it's really Homer's fault at the end of the day? And I don't think you could really say that. For one thing, in my mind, I thought if ADHD has such a strong genetic component, and it does, but I would have expected equal rates of ADHD to be present in all socioeconomic circumstances, all socioeconomic backgrounds. But what you actually do see is higher levels of ADHD in people who are in lower socioeconomic situations. So why is that? Why do we see higher rates in people who are less well off? The theory that I find most interesting is people who are in lower social economic settings, they're going to be more prone to trauma. And trauma is thought to be a precursor to ADHD. And what clouds things even further is if you have adults who are undiagnosed. They're going to be involved in some of those self-soothing behaviors that we talked about earlier. So that's going to be the gambling, the reckless driving, substance abuse, possible incarceration, and they're creating trauma, and that trauma could feed into ADHD into younger generations. But let's be clear about something. I'm not saying all parents with ADHD are reckless, gambling, alcoholic degenerates. I'm not saying that at all. Most parents with ADHD actually go above and beyond to ensure that their kids are set up for success, making sure they have nurturing environments and they have all the support they need to succeed. That's because parents with ADHD, they know what it's like to have ADHD, and they're trying to set up their kids for success and have that support when they didn't have that when they were younger. But what I am talking about are parents who have potentially not themselves been diagnosed. And even then, I'm talking about a small minority of patients, because not everyone with ADHD participates in these self-soothing behaviors. So I'm definitely not trying to generalize here. So I just wanted to make that clear. And I think that early recognition and early intervention is going to go a long way ensuring everyone flourishes both in the home and outside of home. And this goes for kids and adults. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and catch you guys next time. Bye.